So, Gus, Clive, thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
Hello.
So, I think first up, Clive, you were going to give us, and it's been a little while since we've featured anything by Salewa, so I think you were just going to give us a bit of a brand overview, and then we'll move on to a few products from Spring-Summer 21, which is the year we are now in, apparently.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, slightly weird. So yeah, I mean, I'm obviously coming from home. There's Gus there in the Salewa showroom. So what we're going to do is to talk a bit about the company, talk a bit about the products that are imminent, if you like, for this spring-summer period, and then also some interesting stories that are coming up for next winter as well. So yeah, Salewa. I mean, Salewa is a very old company. It's been around for the best part of a century, I think. Is that right, Gus? Yeah. I think a lot of people will be aware of it and possibly might think that it's German. And of course, that is where it started out. It's a German brand, but no longer. It's part of a big group called the Oberalp Group, and they're based in the Dolomites in Italy. So essentially, it's an Italian setup now. And that group includes some other brands that you'll know as well, like Dynafit, like Wild Country, and Evolve shoes now as well, Evolve rock shoes. So going back to Salewa, I mean, it's a brand that it's just one of those brands that is present across pretty much every category you can think of. Mostly in the UK, you'll see footwear and clothing. But they go into hardware, they do ropes, they do tents, they do sleeping bags, they do pretty much everything. And it's all top quality stuff. And essentially their vision is that their customer is someone who they would call a progressive mountaineer. So that's really, it's somebody who we'd all relate to, that wants to move fast, that that wants lightweight but durable equipment that functions well, and it's somebody that's kind of a looking forward mountaineer. They are quite alpine based, let's put it that way.
It's interesting because obviously we're not attending trade shows this year for reasons that probably everyone is aware of. But I know historically, when I first started going to the trade shows, so this is a fair few years ago now, what blew my mind on occasions was you'd go to some of these big British brands and they had these tiny little stands. And then you'd walk around and you'd go and see other brands that, for instance, Salewa didn't historically have the same representation in the UK as it does now, but they'd have these massive stands with absolutely everything on. And it makes you realize it's like the juggernauts, these massive brands with a huge following that, and as I say, with literally products in every single category, which probably Gus leads us quite neatly on to Gus probably, and talking about, I think we're going to start with the hemp story and hemp clothing, aren't we?
So something new for spring. This is actually kind of started off as a study as far back as 2017, where Salewa were looking to progress on their technology and sustainability kind of focus. And they settled back on one of the oldest natural fibers that's ever been used in kind of material and textile, and that's hemp. Not to be confused with the stuff that you smoke. They are part of the same plant species, but one is marijuana and the other is hemp. They are not the same.
It's good to specify these sorts of things before we move on to, especially if I'm the one signing up for the review. I just want to be clear on what I'm signing up for.
Well, they banned it from advertising in America for many years for exactly that reason, despite the fact they were two very different things.
So what's the benefit of hemp then? Because I've used a variety of things like hemp blends over the years. What's the benefit, and how do these either differ, or how do they function and perform?
So from a pure garment point of view, for the starting point, why Salewa kind of what they engineered it into. They wanted super lightweight, comfortable, breathable, thermoregulating clothing. Sexy way of saying, incredibly comfortable, and in obviously hot conditions like you'd find in the mountains in summertime. It's something that's actually going to keep your body in a state of comfort, and that just means you're not sweating buckets and you're not freezing cold. So the garment itself, the hemp fibers can hold 30% more moisture than cotton or traditional base layer wicking fabrics. So it means you don't get that cold, clammy feeling so early on. So actually, if you're going out in hills for a day, you're going to sweat, you're going to cool down, you're thinking about the ascent, you're thinking about the descent, you're actually asking an awful lot of a layer next to your skin, which is changing all the time throughout the day.
So I guess these are ultimately suitable for, I mean, what you've just described sounds suitable for virtually anyone, really. But, that could be hill walkers, could be climbers, mountaineers, runners even. I'm guessing the scope for this is actually quite broad.
Yeah, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. I mean, with for Spring 21, Salewa put the focus on the kind of the climbing segment of the range. But, for years to come, you'll start seeing this in some of the more lifestyle style approach clothing, or you'll see it in some of the more kind of the hiking style clothing. But for this season, we look at basically styles for your climber, whether it be tights for the ladies, trousers for the men, shorts for both men and women, and a variety of kind of top layers, whether that be long sleeve tops, shirts, heavyweight t-shirts, or a lighter weight t-shirt.
Cool. And in terms of the cut as well, how are they quite an active cut? I know it's a really difficult thing to describe without actually me being there and seeing them, but
at the moment, probably the best way to describe it is a regular cut. It's not super skinny, so if I typically wear a medium from Salewa, I would be a medium throughout.
This reassures me because I've tried a number of things. I think active cut is often it's a buzzword that basically means it's really blooming tight, and you put it on and and you're like, oh right, I may need to go up a size, which doesn't do my ego any good. So
yeah, the word is formed. You don't want to see formed.
No. So
just one thing about this fabric as well. It's environmentally, it's very good, much better than cotton. Doesn't need insecticides, needs a hell of a lot less water. In fact, virtually no water to cultivate, and needs no synthetic fertilizers or anything like that. So it's in a good place.
Yeah, in a day where we're kind of encouraging people to be more, conscientious about the purchases they make, and users trying to be more conscientious about the products they make. There is, a two-part story to this collection, in the fact that it's designed, it's come from a fiber which is already suited to performing the activities people are buying these kind of garments for, but at the same time, the way it is produced, it is sustainable. It does use less water. The other amazing side of this is that they're trying to move production of the crop from China, where it's historically been manufactured since the 60s, back to the Dolomite.
Oh, wow. I think something you've touched upon, which is something we actually touched upon with Nick Wax, who we were filming with the other day, actually, was that when you can combine a sustainable product with the performance that matches any other product that's out there, or in many cases, it betters that performance, that's where the match made in heaven. There's no sacrifice to be made. It's a win-win situation if you have a sustainable product that performs really well. I guess on a final note as well, can't help but comment on the colour. Pretty jazzy colour there. I presume there is a selection available for more modest and conservative members of the audience.
We can do more modest. So yeah, you do get your loud colour, but obviously there is still a demand for a pant in black.
I think no matter what colour selection you have these days, and don't get me wrong, I like bright colours as much as the next, but I'm assured in shop terms, it's good to have that consistent black modelling for those who maybe don't like bright orange trousers.
No, you can have loud, and there is a conservative colour.
Cool. Well, thanks ever so much for that, guys. That was really informative on all levels, I think. Really good to catch up, and let's probably run through another thing in about 30 seconds time.
Cheers, Rob.
Cheers.